We're hearing a lot about Claude these days, and the reason is that they are making great steps in the process of becoming the main AI for business use, whereas ChatGPT seems to be taking a lot of steps in the world of consumer use, and Copilot, of course, for business, but a bit slower, never the first ones to show capabilities. They follow what the others are doing, and they do it with more guardrails and in more secure and integrated ways in our environment. So it's okay to wait for Copilot, but it's a good idea to see what Claude is doing. So let me show you the latest. Well, this is my Claude environment, and I prepared 3 examples to show you of where Claude doesn't just respond in text, but has interactive components that mean I never need to leave Claude. I can just complete my task inside. So let's have a look at 3 different scenarios, not all work related, but show us what it can do. The first one is an email. So in a recent session on AI agent with accountants, I collected some information through Slido, and I've got the PDF here of everything that everyone contributed in the room, 100 people, and I uploaded that, and I said these are the poll results from a session on AI agents with accountants, draft the follow-up email to the attendees, and reference the key findings. And it came back with a suggested email in 3 tones: warm and encouraging, sharp and insight-led, conversational and playful. Now this is an interactive component, so I can type over it, and I can type whatever I need to and change, and then I can just send it out straight out through my email system. I don't need to copy and paste it. The second example is a trip itinerary. I ask you to plan a 3-day trip, and it came back with another interactive component. I've got day 1, day 2, day 3. All these components are interactive. I can move between them, and I can open the route in Google Maps, and I can copy as text or as a table. The third one is where I asked it to create me a recipe, to find me a recipe for something I want to cook. And I can play here with a number of servings. I can change US to metric. I can tick off the steps as I get them done, or totally interactive, I can get cooking. And when I hit start cooking, I get the first step, and I start, and a timer will come up because I need to let it sit for 5 minutes. And then when I move to the next step, which takes about 12 to 14 minutes for it to caramelize, it will give me another step, and I go to the next step and the next step. So what we're seeing here is that Claude wants to be this main interface, the main workspace where I get all my work done, and I don't need to jump between systems. It will go to different systems behind the scenes. Even in that email task where I uploaded the PDF, I could have started with saying, find that PDF in my SharePoint or wherever it is that I manage my documents, and then write me the email, and then I can hit send the email, and I never left Claude. I think that all of the main ones, OpenAI, ChatGPT, and Microsoft Copilot, and Google Gemini, they all want to become that main workspace where I do everything, and I don't need to jump between systems anymore. And then I think what will happen next, you will see how those systems behind the scenes will start changing when less and less humans interact with them, and more AIs interact with them. And then maybe the way they work, the way they are designed will change to be more AI friendly than human friendly. But well, that's still to watch. That's futuristic. So Claude is working to become this one workspace, my main workspace, where I get all my work done, and it knows everything about me, and it can interact with all my other systems, fetch data and fetch documents, and go and do things in those systems, so I never have to leave Claude ever again. But it's not doing that only through these interactive components that we just looked at. It's doing that in other ways too. So if we look at the Claude apps, we'll see Claude Cowork, which is a desktop app that I covered in one of the last updates in one of the last weeks. That one gets installed on my desktop and can talk to my files, do things with my local files, local apps, and anything that's installed on my computer, basically. And it can handle complex tasks that have to do with multiple steps and multiple kind of work. Plan it, and then create a spreadsheet, and then create a database, and then write a little script, and then run it, and then create a document, and then upload it here, and then go to that website and tick it as done. It can do all of those things. Very new. I suggest at this point running it on a separate machine, and only if you're an innovator or an early adopter, because a lot of the experiments will take time and not work, but some of them will work great. So early. It also has the Chrome add-in or plugin. That means that it can take over Chrome and click inside and type and fill out forms and just do things in the browser. And it also has now the Excel and PowerPoint plugins. So if I'm in Excel, I've got Claude here on the side. And this whole page, I actually asked Claude to make a spreadsheet that looks like a complex project Gantt chart for a demo. And it just created this while I was doing something else. It will add columns, create pivot tables, and it will think multiple steps. So the other day I had to do some pivot table to analyze some complex data. And I couldn't do it directly. I asked it to do it, and it added all the columns that were missing as calculations on the way for that without me having to explain that that's what needs to be done. It also lives in PowerPoint now. So this is my PowerPoint, Claude in my PowerPoint. And it actually created for me all these nice looking graphs and charts based on data that I uploaded. And I just said, make me some slides that will show this data. And it did. So we're talking a lot about Claude today, but most of us, accountants, lawyers, other professional services, larger businesses, are on the Microsoft platform with Microsoft Copilot. So are we all missing out, or am I saying that you need to move to Claude? No, not at all. Here's what's happening in Copilot. Microsoft are actually bringing some Claude capabilities in or imitating them. So here I am in Microsoft Copilot, and in my options here where I can select the model I want to work with, hey, look at that. There's a Claude model in here. Until now, Microsoft Copilot included OpenAI, GPT, ChatGPT kind of models behind the scenes. Now there's a Claude option coming up as well. So I can use the smartness of Claude inside my Microsoft Copilot. This option is turned off by default, and your Microsoft tenant admin needs to turn it on if you want it. And the reason is, I think, that with OpenAI models, all of these and the default ones, Microsoft have a copy of them internally, and your data never leaves the Microsoft environment, whereas with Claude, they are sending data directly to Anthropic, the company behind Claude. They're sending it to the Claude engine. They are saying that they removed confidential information, private information, etc., but it's still going to a third party. So if you want this, you need to turn it on. So the other thing we're seeing is that Microsoft announced Copilot Cowork. Sounds a bit like Claude Cowork, and if we read this, we'll find that they're saying, working closely with Anthropic, we have integrated the technology behind Claude Cowork into Microsoft 365 Copilot. And so those capabilities of working locally on my device and running complex tasks and interacting with my local files and with my local apps and all of that is going to come to us in Copilot as well. So what's the bottom line? Well, one, the concept of one ring to rule them all these main AI engines working hard to become the one workspace where we will do all our work. Microsoft Copilot, Google Gemini, Claude, ChatGPT, even Perplexity, they're all working towards that. They're doing that through plugins into apps, through interactive components inside the chat, through desktop apps that will work locally, and through agents that will work behind the scenes. And we're all watching to see who's going to win. For the majority of larger businesses and businesses in very regulated environments, it's going to be Microsoft Copilot, just because that's how it is. And for these businesses, when we look at the Claudes of the world and what they're doing, it just gives us a signal of what's coming. For those of us who have some freedom and able to choose what apps we want to play with, definitely go have a play with Claude, because you're getting to use the latest, the greatest, but not in the crazy innovator world, but the ones that are enterprise grade, with guardrails, safe to use. And if you want to do some of these together with me in a room or online, I've got a lot of online workshops and in-person workshops coming up. So go check out inbal.com.au/events and we'll get going.